All right, we are now joined by Kyle Busch, driver of the number 18 M&M's Chocolate Bar Toyota. Kyle has 7 straight top 5s here, coming off win number 200, starting the truck race today, second. You talk about going after wins 201 and 202.
Just you know, to the racetrack for another weekend. It's like Groundhog's Day all over again. But overall, just feel like you know, things are clicking real well on the Cup side as well as the truck side with Kyle Busch Motorsports as well. So just continuing to power through and strive to win races each and every week.
All right, thank you. We'll open up for questions. We'll start on this side of the room. Claire, Kelly, then over to Matt.
Claire B. Lang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I was really impressed with Rafael Lessard yesterday. He doesn't know a lot of people here. He says he wants the tough advice from you, and he hasn't had that much experience, but he was really good in practice. What do you kind of feel or know about him?
Well, he's driven our late model cars all last season, and you know, did a pretty good job. He won a few big races, and you know, a lot of times we had some other issues that kind of prevented him from seeing a bit more success. But overall, you know, he's certainly a wheel man. He drives the hell out of the vehicles. I know that. I've watched him on some of the late model races, and it's just he's 110% all the time. I mean, the go switch never comes down. So, you know, I think that's kind of the mentality that we've seen sometimes out of some of the guys that have come to us at Kyle Busch Motorsports that have gotten into the late models and have then gone on to the trucks. And so you kind of just got to tone them back a little bit. And, you know, these races are longer. You're on these tires longer. Well, maybe not. Sometimes you're not. But overall, just, you know, the Christopher Bell, for instance, the old 30-lap sprint car driver, you know, you kind of got to get that taken out of these guys for them to be successful in NASCAR, and Rafi can be one of those guys too.
Kelly.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Kyle, after what happened in Fontana, NASCAR says tweaks could be made to qualifying starting at Texas. How do you think we should be doing qualifying on a weekly basis now?
I don't know. I just follow the rules, whatever the rules are. So, you know, I told Claire last week, I said, you know, hey, you guys are all talking about it, you're conversating about it, there's a buzz around it, people may not like it, whatever, but we're talking about it, rather than there's just being single car qualifying and nobody saying a damn word about it. So, pick and choose your battles wisely, folks.
Matt Weaver, we kind of a similar question that I had to Joey, but we saw higher grip levels for the test both late last year and early this year. Was that just due to the cooler weather? Or are we going to see more grip next week because it's a night race and then the extra 50 horsepower? How does that change the dynamics of the racing from the All-Star race to what we've seen this year?
A night race next week. What's next week? Texas. It's a night race? No. So you had me confused for a second, so I wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be a moron. Truck race is night race, but so I think, like Joey said, you know, with the reduced power that we had at Charlotte, we were on a restrictor plate engine. It was only 420 horsepower when we were at Charlotte, and we had the same package. Now we're at 550, so you've got 125 more horsepower. You're going faster down the straightaways. You're entering the corners faster, so it's harder. You're getting more to the limit of the tire. Like during the test at Las Vegas, we weren't to the limit of the tire. We were wide open. I was wide open for 18 laps. At the end of the race, in the Vegas race, you know, we were barely breathing it in 3 and 4, wide open in 1 and 2. So you're under the limit of the tire, even at the 550 package. So, you know, I don't know what you're getting at. Like, are you wanting to see pack racing? Is that what you're asking about? Yeah, ambient conditions are different, and then you put 40 other guys on the race. Okay, so we had 14 guys on the racetrack versus 40 guys on the racetrack. The amount of rubber that goes down, the amount of grip that you lose when rubber goes down, etc. Things happen. There's too many variables that you're not going to be able to simulate perfectly, exactly in a test that you would in race conditions.
Mark, LPRN. 2 questions. As a follow-up to that, are you happy with the way this has worked out? A little bit more horsepower. You see a little bit of pack racing, the beginning of a restart. Then things start to get down to, okay, who's got the best car? Who's got the best mechanical grip?
Yeah. You know, if you had to ask me, do I like the package? Sure, I might as well say that I do. But then they're going to make a change to it, so I don't know if I like it or not. I just look. We're we're all race car drivers, all of us that come in here that speak to you, and we're all going to say we want to go as fast as we possibly can. We're all going to admit that we want to go out there, lead every lap, lap the field, win the race, take home the checker flag, and go on to next week. But there's amount of people in the grandstands and watch on television that want to see a show as well too. And you're not always look. There's been how many races in NASCAR? Over 10,000, right? Denny's not quite run all the races, right? And there haven't been but 5%, 3% of those that have been great finishes. Like, you're not always going to have the magical moment every single week. And if you have 5 of them a year, I think you're on par, you know? So people sometimes just have to be patient and watch and see what happens and be excited. That's how I am. Excited.
My next question kind of goes to that. The finish they had last year, and would you like to be in that spot? I mean, is that is it a dream for a racer to win by a whole lap and completely dominate the field and pound them into the ground, and or win the race? Would you like to win races, turn 4, a little slide job, a little bump, and the crowd goes crazy?
Well, if you look at my Twitter feed, people would probably tell you that that's the only way I've ever won races is by wrecking the field. And I was the only one left. That's why I win. It's been a long time since I remember crashing somebody for a win. But anyway, that could happen. You don't really want to necessarily be in those positions. You want to do it as cleanly as you can. Joey obviously had been run down, and they'd race side by side for 3 or 4 laps, and Martin finally got by, and it was just a desperation move. And if you're going to make moves like that, you got to know that that's going to somehow haunt you and come back on you in the future. So that's kind of what you probably don't think about exactly in that moment, but you try to do it the best you can, as clean as you can.
I have 2. Nate Ryan, NBC Sports. Kyle, you've got 7 consecutive top 5s here at Martinsville, and it seems as if the guys who are really good here, like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, Tony Stewart, they always have these moments that it clicks for them, and they sort of figure it out, and from that point on, they're good. Did that happen for you at this track?
Yeah, it was a while ago. I don't remember exactly. It was with Dave. It might have been when Harvick won. That might have been like 2011. I was thinking 11. 11 or 12, somewhere around there is when it kind of finally clicked, and I was like, okay, I think I know what I'm doing. And then, I was close to winning here a couple of times, and I just could never have it at the end of the race. I never knew what I needed at the end of the race in order to be able to get the victory. And you always keep learning, and you keep figuring it out, and you keep building that notebook, and the crew chief same way. And so when Adam and I finally got together, I came here fall of 15, and then again in 16. I think 16 is when we won, right? So we were just able to continue to build on our notebook, and I wouldn't call it's been easy, but it's been a lot more repetitive to what we expect is what happens.
And Penske and Gibbs sort of being seemingly the class of the field here so far through the first 5 races. Almirola was in here earlier talking about, kind of echoing what Harvick said after Fontana, that they feel like now they can put stuff in their cars for Texas that will maybe allow them to get to the winning level. Are you expecting to see Texas be a little bit more competitive and see like Stuart Haas or maybe even a Hendrick step up a little bit? Or
I think everybody's doing a fantastic job. I don't know that anybody needs to get any better. I feel like the fields are pretty competitive each and every week. You never know who's going to qualify where. You got the RCR guys up front, and in the race things kind of happen that way too. So I'm okay. I would expect everybody to continue to put improvements in their car and get better. It's just the amount of the size of the improvements and what they gain right out of what they're able to change, and how much improvement that they get to whether or not you kind of jump ahead or whether you just get back equal, and then the guys that are fast get another upgrade and then they're back ahead a little bit. You play this seesaw moment all life long in this sport, and we even see it on the engine sides as well too. They're like, oh man, we made some gains on them, and then they go and stretch it back out, and you're like, oh, that just kind of deflates everything that you just worked towards, but you got to keep working.
Rich Colbert, the Motor Racing Network. I'll ask you the same question I asked Joey a while ago.
I'm Joey's answer. Sorry, I was thinking over there.
I saw your face. I was like, I don't know if
I
he's
knew
got
he was
one.
going to ask, and I was like, do I have any pranks that I've ever pulled on somebody? The only one that I can remember was a roommate of mine years ago when I moved to North Carolina. He was much younger than me, but he was kind of a pain in my ass sometimes. So late one night, or actually early in the morning one morning, I went upstairs with a warm glass of water, and he sleeped all kinds of weird ways, and I put his hand in the glass of warm water and made him piss his bed. So that's about all. He made me mad, so I had to get him back. And it wasn't. I don't even think it was April Fool's, but that's probably the best thing I've done in a while.
You got to work.
All right.
All right, we're going to wrap up with Chris.
Chris Doherty, Martinsville Bulletin. I've been asking a bunch of drivers this week just all the history at this track. You've had success at this track. Any moment at Martinsville Speedway that stands out as maybe the most memorable to you?
I would say, yeah, it was memorable for me, but probably not as memorable for other people. Our win here just a couple falls ago was pretty special for us. Got us our chance. Just like anybody that wins here in the fall that has a chance to go to Homestead, we had our chance to go to Homestead because of that victory. But there was some fireworks and some other sparks that were happening in the finish of that race as well with the 11 and the 9. So, it was a very memorable day for a lot of different reasons for a lot of different guys, but one for us that we could, win this race and go to Homestead.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time, Kyle. Good luck today and tomorrow.